Speaking of dark corners, cyber terrorism, what's going on here?
So cyber terrorism there's an array of things that we could talk about on this topic. They cannot keep these credit card numbers locked down, and it's not necessarily, there's a tendency to want to blame the merchant. So the person who's accepting the online transactions, this is happening on a very large scale, and it's sort of embarrassing for MasterCard and Visa. They've rolled out these new certification programs so that software developers have to have their platform sort of locked down, but a lot of these leaks occur at the merchant processor level above the merchant. So the merchant banks themselves, you've heard of like WikiLeaks. So the US government gave 900,000 people unlimited access to intelligence information. And so there's a gentleman, I forget his name, Manning something, who took a USB drive, put it in his computer, downloaded 10 gigs worth of data and walked out with it. There's no protections in place to prevent that from happening. It would have been very easy to do that. And in a merchant company, they can do the same thing. They can walk in, plug in a USB drive, download tens of thousands of credit card numbers, and next thing you know, they're on some forum somewhere being auctioned off. So it is a big problem, and I don't know what the solutions are, but I think that in some cases, they're trying to prosecute these things more. So if you have a fraud that's over $5,000, the FBI will get involved and try to help prosecute it. But they're very hard to find. They're generally more clever because they have a very challenging job, and the wars of the future will kind of be fought along these grounds. In fact, right now Congress is trying to pass some legislation that would basically give them the ability to turn off the internet. And it's got a lot of people up in arms about it. Right now in the news, the Occupy protests are very popular, and there's this link between the, I don't know if I'd call them cyber terrorists, but they seem to be, they certainly ruffle people's feathers, and they call them hacktivists. And so the hacker group Anonymous has been out there ruffling the feathers of big corporations and governments. And sort of like, you could think of their archetype would be kind of like Robin Hood. They take from the rich and give to the poor, not necessarily in a financial perspective, but they like to, if they feel like a group of people is being oppressed, then they'll step in, and it might be a DDoS attack on a website. It could be when, in fact, inciting protests. As a programmer, I recognize that the amount of skill required to do this is not an easy chore. These are very sophisticated companies with top-notch IT managers and security firms. And it seems like almost nobody can really, H.B. Gary was supposedly going to reveal who the anonymous people were, and in response, they took down his website, and so they're just kind of relentless. There's this relentless this thing. And I think part of it is that there are probably a lot of them, maybe 1,000 or so, it's hard to say. The FBI has arrested 50 of them, and yet this stuff continues to roll out. And so I think that what we'll see is that a lot more battles are being fought on the internet, as opposed to, and the reason why that is effective is because people have secrets, and when you keep your secrets on a computer, nobody ever thought what would happen if you can't keep your secrets safe anymore. If the CIA can't secure their website, how are they going to keep our health records secure? So I think that there probably won't be a way to really secure this stuff. We're going to have to look at things where transparency has to become the norm. These young people that are growing up, they're the matrix generation. People using that skill for what they consider to be activism. If you put aside for the moment that they're violating a lot of laws, put that aside for a moment, they see these attacks and